Look at that face. What a familiar face. Antonio Sabato Jr. is here with us on Today in Nashville. Whoa, I see some muscles there, man. You're keeping in shape. Listen, he's got
48, I'm like almost 50 here, I got to stay better shape, and I got a book out at 48, so it's not too bad.
That's incredible. So obviously exercising the body and exercising the mind. Listen, Antonio's got an incredible story, and it's chronicled in his new book. It's called Sabato The Untold Story. And I'm so happy to talk with you today. You've got a lot of messages from your own personal experience to not just share it. You don't just write it for your family. This is really for the world.
Yeah, this is for the world. And I talk about so many things, from just my parents, my mother, and everything that she'd been through, my grandmother, things that happened to our house. We lost everything. It burned down to the ground, and it was purposely done to us, to my family. Coming to this country, not learning not knowing the language and starting from scratch, blacklisting, all the things that I've been through, and then surviving that and coming back on top and being able to sustain yourself, and the love that I have for my country and my children. There's just so much good stuff in this book, and not because I wrote it, but I think more people that are maybe falling off the wagon and not feeling good with themselves, or just things in life or whatever, and now especially, this could be good for you to read it, and it would help you out a lot to see a different perspective, and this is inspirational, I think, to read this. I think most people, it's been out for like a week now, so they're sending me messages and telling me how great the book is, and you got to write more books, and because I have a lot more stories to tell. So, but I'm glad that people are liking it so far, and I hope more people read it.
Let's backtrack a little bit and give people a little bit of your story, because they might see you and go, oh, I remember from General Hospital. I remember the Calvin Klein ad. They remember the Hollywood Antonio Sabato Jr. Let's talk about, you did not grow up in this country. Talk about your family history and coming here.
Yeah, we came, I was born in Rome, Italy, and me and my sister, and my parents come from two different countries. My father was born in Montelepre in Palermo, right outside in Sicily. Big family there with all my uncles and aunts, and the story that happened to him, which is fascinating in its own. And my mother was born in Prague, in the Czech Republic, a single child, and the story that she went through, which I talk about in the book. And we're actually in the process of writing her story called Yvonne, which is going to be her hot life story, which is going to be incredible. I just can't wait. I have goosebumps thinking about that. But just her life story, growing up in Prague, my grandmother escaping Auschwitz, being able to be alive during World War II, the Russians taking over the Czech Republic and making it a communist country, going to that country as a little boy, traveling there and having soldiers check your car, take my toys away, steal our things, the things that they did to my mother, leaving her as a young child for an entire year to take care of yourself. Imagine being barely 10 years old, being left at home, and your parents have to go away, and they're forced to go away. And all that we're going to talk about in the book. And there's some stuff that I discuss in chapters in the book about my mother and my grandmother being killed, all that, which is fascinating in its own, how they murdered my grandmother in Prague. And we talk about that. Losing our house to a fire. And I was a little boy, and I thought it was my fault for so many years. And when I grew up, my parents told me what really happened. And you'll find out in the book what really happened to that house. A beautiful house that my father and my mother had, with all our belongings and everything we ever had. And from that point on, we lost everything, and we had to start from scratch, and then moving to this country and so forth, and the Hollywood life and the political world. And
well, and you have such a deep love for this country, and you want to express that out in the book, and you've got your platform for doing that as well.
Yeah, I'm just proud American. This country has given me everything. There's things that I just appreciate and put first in my life, and it's God, family, and country. And I've learned so many good things about the philosophy of a patriot, somebody that goes to work, fights for everything he wants to fight for: his country, his family, his children, his dignity, his love for life itself and God, all those things that are very important to me, that I went through this arc of, you know, making it through life and death. You know, I've lost,
Really?
you've seen death in the book that I've seen with my own eyes. You see my recovering of addiction that I survived. And that's important to talk about, people, because people are addicted to everything now, to our computers, to drugs, to alcohol, to sex, to this, to that, all the wrong things we really are devoted and addicted to. Our news, the bad stuff. And we are forgetting about what kind of individuals, human beings we are. God created us to be really awesome at what we do naturally. And we rely on everything else, the news, the this, money, power, greed, and all that stuff. So I try to bring it down to a place where, and I hope people can see it and go, you know, Antonio, after everything he's been through, he's pretty down to earth, man. How does he do it? You know, he's pretty, you know, I'm doing constructions to take care of my family. I'm working for a concrete company, CNC, concrete pumping.
Hey, you
I had
called
to
me
pick it up.
personally on my cell phone. I was
Called
expecting
you
to hear from
personally?
your people. I pick
No,
up the call. I go, he goes, hey, it's Antonio Sabato Jr. I was like, well, hello.
thank you. I'm a humble man, and I appreciate life. Especially, like I said, after you read the book and you go, man, this guy's been through a lot of good stuff, a lot of terrible stuff, and now he put it together and he survived it, and he has a smile.
Well, I think it's the tools that you give, those survival tools, that strength, and you're right. There's a lot of spiraling going on right now, and we've got to dig deep. And you have done that your entire life. So great lessons to be told. Show the book.
Thanks.
It is Antonio Sabato Jr.
Right here.
Untold Story. It's so cool. It's out right now. Follow him on all the socials. So much good stuff. He's got so much more to say. And we're just so glad that you spent some time with us. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. And you're watching Today in Nashville.